This video is going to help you when you're dividing a whole number divided by a whole number and you end up with a decimal in your answer. So if I was going to do 1 divided by 4, notice the 1 is first, so that's really my dividend. That's what's going in the box. My divisor is 4, it's outside the box. Right away you notice that 4 is not going to be able to go into 1. And also you may notice the 1 doesn't have a decimal place, but I'm going to put a decimal point right after it and bring that decimal point straight up, and now I'm going to start dividing. How many 4s go into 1? 0. When I subtract, I got a 1. That doesn't make a lot of sense for me to just say 0 remainder 1. So what I'm going to do is add a 0 on here, bring it down. How many 4s in 10? That would be 2. 2 times 4 is 8. When I subtract, I got a 2. I'm still not to a 0 on my remainder, so I'm going to add another 0 for free. 4 goes into 20 5 times, and 5 times 4 is 20. No remainder, I'm good to stop. So 1 divided by 4 is really 0.25, which now when you look at the zeros on here, this really looks like a dollar. A dollar divided by 4, each person gets a quarter, right? So all I'm really doing is put my decimal point, add zeros, as many as I want. If I needed 16 zeros, I could add 16 zeros out here. 17 divided by 2, let's try this one with box it up. So I'm going to make my boxes for my 17 and my 2's out front. And my decimal point would be after the 7. So I'm going to put my decimal point right there and there. 2 goes into 1, 0 times. Subtract, I got a 1, bring it up. 2's in 17 would be 8. 8 times 2 is 16. I subtract, I got a 1 left over. Cannot stop until I get a remainder of 0. So I'm going to add another box. And since the box wasn't really there and it didn't have a number in it, I got to put a 0 in it because nothing means 0. Bring the 1 up. How many 2's in 10? That would be 5. 5 times 2 is 10. I'm at 0 and I can stop now. So 17 divided by 2 equals 8.5, which would be the same as 8.5. It's not really that bad. All I'm doing every time is just add zeros until I stop. Sometimes you have to add a few more than other times, especially if I'm dividing by 8. So to try this one out, there are no 8's in 5. Add my 0, bring it down. How many 8's? Make sure I get my decimal right above my decimal. 8's in 50 would be 6, because 6 times 8 is 48. Subtract, I'm at a 2. Bring it down. 8's in 20. Let's see, 8 times 2 is 16. I now have a 4 for a remainder, but I'm going to add another 0 and bring it down. How many 8's in 40 would have been 5? 5 times 8 is 40. Now I have nothing left, and I don't have to go any farther. So 5 divided by 8 equals 0.625. On the rest of them, I'm going to give you a chance to stop the video each time one comes up, and you do it, and I'll show you how it works out also. And I'll go back and forth between box it up and just bringing it down. So here we go. 13 divided by 4, there's my decimal point. 4 goes into 1 no times. 4 goes into 13 3 times, which would be 12. I got a 1. Add my 0 and bring it down. 4's in 10 would be 2. 4 times 2 is 8. I'm now at 2. Add another 0 and bring it down. 4's in 20 would be 5. And 4 times 5 equals 20. Nothing left. 3.25 for my answer. Stop the video when you try it. Don't freak out about the 100. It's going to make it easy to do. So I'm going to go with box it up. I got a 3, and there's my decimal point. I'm dividing by 100. How many hundreds in 3? None. Add a box. Remember to put my 0 there before I bring this up. Hundreds in 30. Still 0. Subtract, I got 30. Add another box with a 0. Bring the whole 30 up in front, and now this is 300. How many hundreds in 300? 3, 100, 200, 300. Subtract, and I'm finished. So my answer would have been 0.03. A lot easier than what you thought when you first saw it. Stop the video when you try it. So we got 14 divided by 70. 70 does not go into 1. 70 does not go into 14. Add my 0 and bring it down. 70 into 140. Well, that's just because if I get rid of a 0 on both of them, that's probably just how many 7s in 14, which would be 2. 2 times 70 is 140. And I'm done. My answer is really just 0.2. Stop the video when you try it. So we got 31 divided by 2. Goes 1 time into 3, which would be 1 times 2 is 2. I got a 1, bring down my other one. 2's in 11 would be 5. 5 times 2 is 10. I got a 1. Don't forget to my decimal point up there. Add a 0 for free. 2's in 10. We just did that. It was 5. And now we're at remainder 0. So 31 divided by 2, we're really cutting it in half. Half of 32 is 15.5. And last one. Box him up. We got a 6 divided by 10. There's my decimals. 10 does not go into 6. Need another box. Add a 0. 10's in 60 would just be 6. And there's nothing left, so it's really just 0.6.